What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new Division 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be comparing the Famas versus the Honey Badger. These are both assault rifles. I just wanted to restart this series on my channel because it's something that I did a lot on Division 1, and a lot of people loved it back when I did it on Division 1. And I also love comparing these weapons because it does go into a little bit detail about some things that people might not realize about weapons. So hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. If you guys do, make sure you guys drop a like and a subscribe channel if you guys are new and you guys want more Division 2 content. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Before we get any further into the video, I do just want to quickly say that for these videos and also for the videos in the future, I always use both the weapons that I'm comparing in the video with no attachments, so you guys can see that the Famas has no attachments on it and the Honey Badger has no attachments on it as well. And also, both of the weapons do have the Optimus talent on it, so you guys don't have any differences or spikes with DPS or damage with the weapons. That would be different compared to if you're using a specific talent. And then also, I'm not necessarily sure what build you guys want me to use for like the background, but I'm just going to be using these two weapons on my Baker's Dozen raw damage build, so that you're seeing, I guess, higher-ish damage for these assault rifles. So you guys can see I have 6 reds that are main attributes and then 13 reds, which are the secondary attributes. If you guys, as viewers, have any preference that you guys want me to use for the build background, I can switch this to my raw damage striker build if you guys want. I'm not necessarily sure that it makes a whole lot of a difference, but if you guys have a preference, you guys can drop it down in the comment section below. Hey guys, so getting right into the video, starting off with the magazine size. Obviously, these don't have any attachments on it, and also you guys can see for the attributes, I don't have any magazine size for any of the attributes, therefore that both the attachments are going to be a 30-round mag. Next, moving on to the RPM, you guys can see that the Famas has a 900 RPM, and the Honey Badger has a 790, which is obviously a 110 RPM difference, which is pretty significant, but it's not a huge difference in terms of these two weapons, which is why you guys are going to see a difference in the total damage output for both these weapons. With practically a 100 RPM difference, speaking in terms of damage for both these weapons, you are going to see maybe a 5 to 6k damage difference between these two weapons, no matter what kind of weapons you guys find in terms of variations of these Famas and Honey Badgers. So just keep that in mind when you guys are using either of these weapons, or you guys may be comparing them yourselves. Don't get fooled or don't think that these weapons are bad or one's better than each other just because you have a 4,000 to 5,000 difference in total weapon damage, because obviously that 100 RPM difference is pretty big in terms of damage, but it does sort of equal itself out in terms of being able to spit more bullets downrange rather than doing a little bit less damage or a little bit more damage. So next up, moving on to the weapon handling for these two weapons, I do think that this part of the video is one of the most important parts because this is where a lot of people make their decision on which weapon they like using or which weapon they might decide to switch in terms of what they're going to be using. So also just keep in mind that the Honey Badger is on the left hand side for you guys, and the Famas is going to be on the right hand side. So starting off with the accuracy, both these weapons have pretty similar accuracy, almost the exact same. The only difference is the Honey Badger does win it out just by a little bit. It's not a huge difference. You probably won't notice it if you're playing on PC or console, but in terms of an overall statistic for these two weapons, the Honey Badger does win by probably about a half to 1 centimeter. Moving on to the stability, which is where the huge difference becomes implemented for these two weapons. The Honey Badger wins, obviously, and this gun also has the stability as high as it can pretty much go for the most part. In terms of the reload speed for these two weapons, 2.4 seconds for the Honey Badger and 2.2 for the Famas. 0.02 second difference, not really a whole lot of a difference. Only way you're going to really feel or see a difference for these two weapons is if you're running an attribute for reload speed and mods for your weapons that also have reload speed as well. And lastly, for the damage drop off, you guys can see on the left hand side that the Honey Badger does actually win. It's not a huge difference, but you definitely will notice the difference between these two for long range engagements. For the Famas, you're going to be having to shoot a little bit more bullets into enemies to kill them compared to the Honey Badger, because you got to forget the Honey Badger does shoot a little bit slower than the Famas. Not a huge difference, but there is a difference, and you're going to be noticing that when you're using the Famas a little bit more. So lastly, moving into the range, I just wanted to quickly show you guys what the recoil patterns look like and how they act in the actual shooting range with no attachments as well, so you guys can keep that in mind. I'm going to do my best to control the recoil patterns with these two weapons so that it doesn't just flop up and go to the left or to the right, so you guys can get an idea of how hard it is or how easy it is for you guys to control the recoil patterns, whether you guys are on PC or if you guys are on console. So first, we're going to start with the Famas. Next up is the honey badger. So lastly, I just want to quickly give my take, my opinion, and what weapon that I would choose when these two weapons are side by side. So quickly, I will just say that I would choose the Famas over the honey badger. There's a couple of small details as to why I would choose the Famas. One is the rarity of these two weapons. The Famas, for me personally, is a little bit easier to find and to get to drop compared to the honey badger. So just for example, the honey badger that I'm using for this for the weapon versus weapon comparison in the video is the only honey badger that I have. Not lying when I say that. This is the only one that I found since Title Update 8 has released. I had maybe one or two of them previously before the update came out, and they're obviously useless. They're gone. I deconstructed them or sold them because they were going to be useless with all the changes that they're making to the gear and the levels and all that stuff. You guys know what happened. So those weapons were practically useless, so I sold them and I had to go out and find a new one. This is the only one that I found. It's not bad, but it's not good, and it also doesn't have the attributes that I want on it either. It does have a pretty good talent that I rolled on it, but it doesn't have the attributes, which makes it a little bit harder for me to be able to put this and mesh it into a build that I wanted to work around with. Compared to the Famas, I have a blueprint for it, as well as I find a ton of Famases from drops when I am farming the assault rifle loot allocation for whatever it is during that day. And also, you guys probably know that I'm a pretty big fan of any weapon in the game that has a very high RPM, and I'm almost positive that the Famas has the highest RPM, excluding exotic assault rifles and any assault rifles that are named high ends. And the second reason, it's a little bit strange, but we're going to be going back to Division 1 and talking about that for a second. So if you guys play the Division 1, you guys might be able to agree with me with my reasoning. So the Division 1 also had the Famas, but it was an exotic in that game. This game, Division 2, also has the Famas in it, but it's obviously a high end. But in terms of stats, recoil patterns, and just overall like weapon play, they're super similar. They're not identical, obviously, but in terms of the magazine size, the damage output, the RPM, the stability, the recoil patterns, those are all super identical. The weapons don't look the exact same, but for the most part, the way they play are extremely similar. And going back over Division 2, obviously with this gun being in the game, I know what I can challenge in terms of PvP and PvE, and what people I'm able to engage at specific ranges and just not miss a lot of shots for no reason, or just like kind of ego challenge either regular enemies in the dark zone or just, you know, bots that I'm trying to finish off with a couple bullets. I know what I am and what I'm not able to engage in for the most part, and I think that's helped me a lot transferring over to Division 2 from Division 1, and why I'm just so used to the Famas in general. Now, I don't want you guys thinking that just the honey badger is the worst gun in the game, or it's shit, or just to delete all your honey badgers and only use the Famas. That's obviously not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that for me personally, I do think that Famas is better, but I also don't think that there's anything wrong with using either of these weapons. I think you're in a very good position using either of these weapons. But I think the main difference between these two weapons for this specific video in terms of comparisons for these weapons, I just think overall right now for the Division in terms of assault rifle category, I do think there is a pretty decent gap in terms of your S tier assault rifles and your tier 1 assault rifles. I'm really hoping that with this change for the assault rifles that is going to be coming hopefully soon with the, I think it's like the health damage or something like that, I do hope that it closes the gap a little bit more and varies the range of assault rifles that people are overall using in the game, because I think that would make a huge difference for just overall build diversity in the game, as well as people just wanting to generally use more weapons compared to just using the same 3 or 4 weapons overall in the game as of right now. But guys, that is going to do it for the video today. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, make sure you guys drop a like on a subscribe channel if you guys are new. If you guys have anything that I think I should add to this video, whether it's just like more gameplay of the weapons itself or more in-depth stats comparisons, make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section below, because I'm obviously always willing to make videos more descriptive and just add more detail to the videos in general. So make sure you guys do that if you guys have any recommendations or questions or anything that's referring to this video specifically. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next one. Peace out.